going through security and getting our tickets, and now we have to wait another 2 hours.
Yeah, it's beautiful here, but we're inside this overcrowded airport all day because the plane is stuck in bad weather.
This is the last time we ever do this. When we get back, we're going to Ocala Aviation and getting our pilot's license.
Yeah, we've been talking about that long enough. It's about time we did it. Then we could just fly ourselves and never have to deal with this mess again.
Right. No long lines, no full body groping security, no baggage checks.
Not to mention never losing your luggage. Remind me again why we haven't done that?
Well, we're idiots.
Oh, right.
Attention all passengers for flight 1370. It looks like the plane is going to be delayed a little bit longer. The airline has lost the pilot's luggage. Isn't it time you got your pilot's license? Call Ocala Aviation today. 352-861-7484. That's 352-861-7484. Hey, you've earned it. Call today.
Shamrock Security Systems, 629-3223. Shamrock Security Systems is located here in Ocala, Florida. Shamrock Security Systems is a top-rated alarm company offering 24/7 monitoring, video surveillance, fire and flood protection. You'll sleep a little better once the job is done. Shamrock Security Systems for over 31 years. 629-3223. Get a 100% free quote from Shamrock Security. 629-3223.
Introducing Hero Mammoth, a nasal respirator wore alone or with a cloth mask. Stay protected while you talk, eat, and drink freely. For more info, visit www.heromammoth.com.
Listening to AM Ocala Live this Thursday. Good morning, everybody. As we are now about 20 minutes before the top of the 10 o'clock hour, as we just wrapped up Veterans News there at the bottom, thanks to Hank and Gary and their guest as they're filling you in a little bit in what they do in lieu of Vets Helping Vets and the opportunities there is for veterans to have any questions that they need answered or any help that they need. They're there for you. So we appreciate that programming as we have here on AM Ocala Live every Thursday. We say thanks to them. Before we got to Veterans News, as we had our little interview, which we had a little bit more time with them because it's all fascinating stuff, as we had our interview with Joel Marion, is the six-time best-selling author and this author of this book that he was pushing that just came out, Always Eat After 7 p.m. What? The revolutionary rule-breaking diet that lets you enjoy huge dinners, desserts, and indulgent snacks while burning fat overnight. As Joel Marion is a six-time best-selling author, host of the top-ranked inspirational podcast Born to Impact, and the co-founder of BioTrust Nutrition, one of the largest e-commerce supplement brands in the United States. Additionally, he works and has been featured in the pages of more than 20 national newsstand magazines, including Men's Fitness, Women's Day, Men's Health, Oxygen, Men's Journal, and Clean Eating. He resides with his wife and his $2 right here in Tampa, Florida. As this is the book that we were talking about and discussing a lot of the ideas and concepts behind what we were told growing up about how we should eat and the ideas of not eating too late, which we're guilty of every single day. Like I said, we don't eat dinner. I wake up so early to do this show, and then how the rest of my day goes, it ends up happening where I actually don't get things situated in the kitchen to cook dinner until it's about 7:45, almost 8 o'clock. So we're always eating late. But come to find out, it's not the biggest deal. If anything, as long as you're strategic in the way you're doing those carbohydrates and everything else, it could actually be a good thing. Going back to the idea that maybe breakfast isn't necessarily the most important meal of the day, but nonetheless, it's just about how you can adjust to to do what you need to do with being able to have certain things in moderation after 7 p.m. that would actually stimulate the metabolism and everything else with some other hormones to help fight and beat the weight gain and fat. So a little interesting there as we have Joel Marion, author, to talk about that. So that was interesting nonetheless. And we talked with Galen Life South Community Blood Centers, talking about that overall. As we are now coming up 15 minutes before the top of the 10 o'clock hour. As we were rolling through just a little bit, I wanted to cover just a little bit more, I guess, news bits in a way of what was kind of mentioning within our community here. As I was talking a little bit about the national conversation survey about teachers returning to school in the fall and what had come with that. But the idea that comes along with that is the conversation about how things are working to figure out what is in the best interest of happening still with the coronavirus come fall, and then the idea of what that means for students and the distance learning. So it was just enough to kind of get some conversation going about that as the survey that was published to show just how difficult it has been for teachers and how a lot of the teachers don't feel it has been as efficient as some people may think. So like I said, just enough to get that conversation started. So as we touch on a few other things a little bit closer to home here, is this one was interesting. Is an Ocala man accused of lewd behavior at a Walmart. It says police say he exposed himself and, get this, masturbated while following an elderly woman around the store. An Ocala man, Florida man, an Ocala man has been arrested and accused of stealing items from a big box store and following multiple women around businesses while masturbating. Surveillance video from the Walmart at 2600 Southwest 19th Avenue Road showed Mr. Jovanik Miller entering a store. A loss prevention employee recognized Miller from previous theft cases and began watching him. According to Ocala police, Miller was seen placing several items into the shopping cart. The camera showed Miller exposing himself behind an elderly woman and defiling himself. Miller followed the woman to different aisles. He would stop near the victim and then touch himself, as police said. During a 2-hour stretch, authorities say the 41-year-old man followed at least 7 elderly women and touched himself near or behind the unsuspecting victims. Miller was apprehended when he tried leaving the store without paying for $243 worth of merchandise. Miller, who has had 2 prior convictions, denied exposing himself in the woman's presence, according to police. He was charged with exposure, sexual organs, petty theft, and possession of less than 20 grams of marijuana. Miller was the 3rd man taken into custody within the past few days on charges of public exposure. Is it just getting hot? So they're taking their clothes off? What's going on? Eric Trestle, 39, of Ocala, was accused of urinating on a display children's items on Tuesday at a Walgreens on 17th Street. What? Police were told they opened packages of gummy bears and crackers and ate them while in the store. On Saturday, Marion County Sheriff's deputies arrested 24-year-old Bradley Dwayne Ebick of Jacksonville and accused him of spitting, pointing a firearm, punching, and exposing himself at a Salt Springs campground. A convicted felon, Eibach, was arrested the campground by deputies. So a little craziness there that it's close to home. So I guess it was worth touching upon the news as such. But interesting altogether, I guess. Whatever. Anyway, moving on as some other stuff around. As there were 3 arrests in connection with a body that was found in Calla Hills near southwest Ocala. It says the Osceola County Sheriff's Office believed that the man was killed in Kissimmee and his body was dumped in Marion County. Police have released more information about the body that was found near the Calla Hills development in southwest Ocala. The deceased is Malik Brown, and 3 people have been arrested in connection with the killing, which authorities believe happened in Kissimmee. According to the Osceola County Sheriff's Office, new releases about 2 a.m. on Saturday, deputies were called to 2902 Bonita Circle in Kissimmee to investigate a shooting. When deputies arrived, there was an evidence of a shooting. However, no victim was found. Osceola officials received information that 3 people, Mark Valles Amador, 24, Theodis Warrington, 19, a 17-year-old girl, was involved in the shooting. Meanwhile, Sunday, Ocala police officers were called to a brush fire in Calla Hills which is just off Southwest 19th Avenue Road, not far from where we're broadcasting to you live from Paddock Mall. A body later identified as Brown was found at the scene, and not long after the discovery, the Daytona Beach Police Department stopped the vehicle that belongs to the teenager. The girl, along with Warrington and Valezamor, were interviewed and then arrested, according to the Osceola news release. As the two older suspects were being held on first-degree murder charges, the girl, whose name is withheld by the Ocala Star-Banner because of her age, has been accused of being an accessory after the fact. Osceola officials said the investigation is still ongoing, and with it still ongoing, anyone with information about the shooting can call 407-348-2222. So incredible there nonetheless. As that comes along with the U.S. Attorney Office has indicated 3 men on firearms charges in separate incidences that occurred in Marion County, as it moves to hear that Caden Billings, David Shaw, and Curtis Duncan are all charged with possession of a firearm by a felon. According to the federal officials, the indictments were made public May 21st. Records show that Shaw was 8 prior state felony convictions dating from 2006 to 2019. Those same records shows Billings was released from prison in February after serving time for grand theft of a motor vehicle and grand theft and drug possession. Duncan is on probation until October 2028 for home invasion with a firearm and a deadly weapon, according to state documents. And if convicted, Billings, 22, Duncan, who is 30, and Shaw, 36, each face a minimum of 10 years in federal prison. All 3 men are in the Marion County Jail. Federal officials say 2 of the 3 indictments were part of the, and this is why it's worth mentioning in lieu of news bits for what we talk about within our community, as federal officials say 2 of the 3 indictments were part of the Department of Justice's protection or Project Guardian program that aids to reduce gun violence. As it is working, it's the 3rd is being prosecuted under the Department of Justice's Project Safe Neighborhoods program, which is working. Billings is accused of using a gun to threaten and beat a woman last month, federal officials said, as Marion County Sheriff's Office deputies captured Shaw after a traffic stop when he failed to stop at a stop sign in Silver Springs in December 2019. And in late March, Ocala police arrested Duncan of Ocala for showing a weapon during an argument with 2 women. So the idea behind this is that it's working within our community as the Department of Justice's Project Safe Neighborhood programs and the Department of Justice's Project Guardian program, as they aim to reduce gun violence and keep neighborhoods safe, as it is working. And I think that was worth a little bit to say about it. And nonetheless, as we look at one more here, as this had come up within Ocala, mom asks hit and run driver to turn himself in. As this comes away, Becky Fiore talked with her son every day on the phone. Fiore said their conversations were about everything, including their day and their plans for what's next. As the next day, Fiore said her son was supposed to meet his friend who would take him to work. Her son, Justin Robertson, never made it. As Ocala Police Department officials said, Robertson was walking from north to south across Northeast 14th Street when a westbound maroon 2005 F-150 crew cab pickup hit him in the outside lane. A police officer traveling in the opposite direction came upon Robertson in the 2800 block of Northeast 11th Avenue and blocked traffic. The call was made at about 6 a.m. Left lying in the roadway, Robertson died mere yards from where he was hit. He was 33 years old. He was a good kid, a resident of Sanford, told the Ocala Star-Banner during an interview, as a repair shop in Bellevue called police and told them that they had the hit and run vehicle. They recovered the pickup and are searching for the person they believe was behind the wheel, 29-year-old Esvin Ronaldo Lopez Herrera. Authorities said Herrera and the owner of the Ford, and the probable cause for his arrest. When apprehended, officials said he will be charged with leaving the scene of a crash involving a fatality. Be a man and turn yourself in, said the mother of Robertson's. A man who witnessed the hit-and-run crash told the Ocala Star-Banner he was driving in the inside lane, and the F-150 was in the outside lane, roughly 20 feet ahead of him when the crash had occurred. And we remember reading this just a couple weeks ago. In lieu of this, the witness said he had pulled over the side of the roadway, and then the pickup also stopped not far from him. The man said he called 911, but the F-150, which had work tools in the back, then eventually left the scene. Of the 5 traffic deaths recorded so far this year by the Ocala Police Department, 4 are pedestrians, and of the 4, 2 are hit-and-run fatalities that remain unsolved. And they say anybody with any information about Herrera's whereabouts can call Sergeant Eric Hooper of the Ocala Police Department at 369-7000. And remember to remain anonymous. You can call Crime Stoppers at 368-STOP, or you can visit them at ocalacrimestoppers.com. So as that's mentioned there, it says just turn yourself in. Has a sad notion there altogether. Now we're going to take a short little break, and when we come back, we'll round out the 9 o'clock hour to get to 10 o'clock. And after 10 o'clock, stay tuned. We'll be doing On This Day in History. Back after this, WOCA.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source. On this episode of What Not to Do, brought to you by
Mike Scott Plumbing. If water runs through it, we do it.
Holy what have you done to my kitchen?
Oh, honey, how is it I never know when she's coming home?
What are all these pipes laying around? Why is my dishwasher in the living room, and why is the carpet all wet?
Well, remember that fancy new kitchen remodel you've always wanted?
Oh, I do, and this is not it.
But I thought I might save some money by doing it myself.
You thought wrong. I promise this is going to cost you way more. You should have called in the professionals at Mike Scott Plumbing, because I'm pretty sure when I flush the toilet, water is not supposed to come out of the sink.
Noticed that, did you?
The next thing I'm going to notice is you calling Mike Scott Plumbing like you should have done in the first place.
Yes, dear. 866-314-4443.
Yes, 866-314-4443.
That played out so differently in my head. On next week's episode of What Not to Do.
No, not monkeys.
WOCA.
A humid day today with intervals of clouds and sunshine, high getting up to 88. For tonight, becoming partly cloudy and remaining humid, a low tonight of 73. For tomorrow, periods of rain and a thunderstorm during the day Thursday with a high 90, patchy clouds at night, low 72. Friday, sunny clouds with a shower or thunderstorm, high 89. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Kevin Snyder.
WOCA.
As you're listening to AM Ocala live right here on WOCA, the Source 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, making our way 2 minutes before the top of the 10 o'clock hour. As we say good morning, we could see a pretty wet day this afternoon with an opportunity for 60% chance of thunderstorms and very, very hot, muy caliente. Hace calor, mucho calor, as showers and thunderstorms likely mainly after 3 p.m., partly sunny today with a high near 90. Heat index values as high as 101, with a chance of precipitation this afternoon to be 60%, and in some areas pretty heavy rainfall, as the rainfall amounts between a quarter and a half inch possible. So as we were talking a little bit more about the weather, what you can expect for the rest of the week is, especially for the beginning of your weekend, is some rain as well, where we have a front moving through that's going to bring in some wet weather for Friday, as we can expect a 90% chance of rain for tomorrow that'll leak into Saturday, but then it looks like it gets to some normality where it's just a little bit of an isolated thunderstorm chance for Saturday afternoon and then Sunday, and then that'll roll into the beginnings of next week where we're going to have some more hot, tumultuous weather. But at the same time, that's okay. It's the wet season. Better that than a hurricane, right? Anyway, when we're coming back on this day in history's next, stay tuned. WOCA Ocala, 96.3 FM, 1370 AM. And remember, we're broadcasting to you live from the Paddock Mall, streaming live, WOCA, the Source Radio. Back after this.
Lillian Wu. 2.1 million more Americans asked for jobless help last week, roughly the number analysts were expecting.
Way better off than the peak that we got, 6.9 million back on March 28th. So far, if you add in this number, that total number over a 10-week period is now